you can't escape yourself. And this has been something like in my life where it's like, you have that restlessness, it shows up in the form of anxiety. Sometimes it shows up in the form of like, I feel a little depressed because I feel like I have kind of an internal standard that I'm not reaching. And so you can't escape yourself because you see yourself in the mirror and people want to feel better. And so either you're going to work hard or you're going to push through to actually push towards the standard that you have for yourself, or you're going to try to suppress it.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
This is Surviving Startup. I am your host, Jamon from Infinite Legacy.
And I'm the co-host, Terry Sylvester from Luxurious Mobile Detailing.
Today.
I'm the detailing guy. How's everybody doing?
Can't complain.
Good.
Today we got
the first.
Yeah, there we go.
Reoccurring guest. And there's a lot of value to be had here in this guest. So we gonna dig in.
All right, let's do it.
Let's go. So this guest, none other than the West Michigan world we now top 5 percentile.
You see?
Of volume. This man is selling a lot of property.
Let's go.
Specializes in investment real estate. Kyle Kimble. Tell him who you are.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me back. I'm honored to be the first recurring guest. I'm Kyle Kimble, residential realtor with RE/MAX of Grand Rapids. Also co-founder of Tonks & Kimble Mergers and Acquisitions. And we specialize in multifamily real estate throughout the United States. Excited to be here. Excited to dig in.
I'm excited to dig in as well.
I love it.
Let's go.
So go ahead,
man.
So today we about to dive into investment real estate. But before we dive into that, can we get a little bit about your background? Did we get that last time?
Yeah, but this is a new episode. We might got people tuning in for the first time. We got a little bit. Yeah. We got a little bit about it. We gonna dig in this time though.
Yeah,
so
let's go hard. I want to know about your background just so we can get people, because people are familiar. Like it's a familiar kind of thing. So if people are familiar with you, then a lot of people go with what that is.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? So can I get a little bit about your background?
For sure. So born and raised in Grand Rapids.
Okay.
I went to North Point off the East Beltline. Used to be Baptist Academy. Have a degree in biomedical science from Grand Valley.
Biomedical science.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow. Nice.
Did kind of a 180 getting into business and real estate.
Was just out of that. Yeah, let's go.
And now I got
let's go.
Trying to stay focused on the lane now. I want to ask questions about the biomedical.
Let's go.
Okay, go ahead though. I'm back.
Yeah. So love science, love the critical thinking aspect of it. Use that actually in business and real estate. But once I finished my degree there, did a year of research at Grand Valley. And then did 3 years at Corewell, now used to be Spectrum Health. So I was in healthcare prior to real estate. Got into real estate. A buddy of mine introduced me to my previous broker. And we were out at his lake house. And he asked me if I ever thought about selling real estate. It's like, no, I hadn't really thought about it. But love working with people, pretty competitive, played sports, played football, played baseball. So kind of the competitive aspect of it and the love for like critical thinking and working with people. Jumped into it, really loved it. Had to build my way up like everybody.
I was about to say, what made that switch? Like, you went from, was your job secure at the time?
Yeah, at the hospital?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you went from something secure to something that's unstable as the most unstable thing you can have.
Yeah.
What made you say yeah to that? Because realistically, real estate is so unstable.
It is.
So for someone to be like, I got a job doing great.
Yep.
To say,
I was kind of looking for the next thing. I know like a lot of entrepreneurs, you kind of have that restless feeling, and then all the way throughout college, I mean, I loved science and loved working with people, but I could never really connect the dots between a career path, a conventional career path, and kind of where my dreams were at. And so I couldn't really find that. And so I had kind of this uneasy feeling with that. And I could see that there was a path, and it was just contingent on how hard I worked. And there really wasn't, especially in real estate, you could scale as big as you wanted, even in the vein of real estate. So like with residential, normally you can scale to a certain degree. It's kind of geographically locked. Yeah. But you can also stay in real estate, but you can go and scale a little bit bigger through like syndication and multifamily throughout the United States. So for the first time in my life, I could see a path there. And so like having that hope, it kind of satisfied that kind of like restlessness. And that's why I was like, okay, I'll go from something that's stable and I'll take a chance and get into this. Because yeah, as you know, getting into real estate, it's hard. I mean, we talked a little bit last time I started knocking on doors.
Yeah. Because you in charge of your own fate at that point.
Yep.
You in charge, you have to.
But your reason
your results will be directly correlated to your work that you put in.
Yep.
And you have to say, I'm going to do this day, that this day. Like, some people, they've been in that aspect of just working at 9 to 5 so long, and they're not used to that, like, scheduling themselves to be the most, you know what I mean? Yep. But you said something that was critical, and we talked about this last time we came and we had coffee, and he was talking about, from what you was just saying, like you felt the restlessness.
Yeah. Right? Something tugging at him.
That's
something pulling,
right?
That why.
And I want to get something to the people right now, because you put something a certain way that I never thought about it before. I never really heard it before. And when you think about the aspect of being from certain neighborhoods, right? And you go through and you see certain people just sitting around chilling, like almost every day, all day.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Just chilling.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Happy.
You know what I mean? And it seems like, okay, it's happy, but then you got, is it really?
Is it
so,
real?
And it's that feeling of when you sitting back and just chilling, but you have this anxiety, right? Mm-hmm. So then you smoke, you drink, now you relaxed. But that anxiety is that thing that's tugging on you to go do something greater, because you're not just supposed to be just sitting still. You're supposed to be out there pursuing whatever that thing is in your heart.
No matter what no one says, because that's the problem. You can listen to what.
But we take that anxiety, feeling like I don't want to feel like this. And we resolve it the wrong way by subduing it with drink, smoke. If you drink and you smoke, I ain't saying it's nothing, but if you're doing it to subdue feelings that you don't want, then you're doing it for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, let's go.
You know what I mean? But that anxiety could be there because it's something you've been telling yourself, I want to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And then you stop telling other people and yourself that because you didn't do what you needed to do in order to make those things happen for what you said you wanted in your life. And now you got this anxious feeling constantly there, and it's because you're supposed to get up and work towards whatever that thing is.
Today.
And then watch how those anxiety feelings start to change into feelings of confidence.
To and you're not gonna care what the next person says.
To different type of things. And I just wanted to say that because like that conversation we had was so dope that we had when we came together. And,
that was the key point when what he said is something was pulling at him and he made a difference.
Yeah. One of the things I would say right along those lines that we talked about over coffee was you can't escape yourself. And this has been something like in my life where it's like, you know, you have that restlessness, you know, it shows up in the form of anxiety. Sometimes it shows up in the form of like, I feel a little depressed because I feel like I have kind of an internal standard that I'm not reaching. And so you can't escape yourself because you see yourself in the mirror and you know, so like, some people turn to different things to try to suppress that feeling, but the feeling doesn't go away. And I think that the majority of us, you know, we have that competitive drive, and that's just kind of part of like human nature. That kind of like, hey, we want to conquer something, we want to go after something, and if that doesn't go away. So like you were saying, people want to feel better. And so either you're going to work hard or you're going to push through to actually push towards the standard that you have for yourself, or you're going to try to suppress it. You're going to, because you can't just sit there. So, yeah. And that's been,
what will it be?
A motivator for me.
What will it be?
There we go.
That's the only question.
I love that.
That's the
Everything
only
about
question.
it, because that's what it is. A lot of people listening right now have something pulling at them.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't know what that is, but we're telling you what it is right now.
That's it.
That's what.
Yeah.
Like
That's
a
it.
lot of
And we don't
people,
even
like, 'cause
realize it.
let's be real. A lot of
We
people
be looking
don't
at
know
it-
what that is. They never understood it. Nobody
you
to
know why,
explain it
too?
to them.
Yep.
But
Because we look
you're
at it
bigger,
like
you're
it's the
better. You can do whatever you want to do.
Bro, we look at it, it's like it's the problems that we're in.
Mm-hmm.
And really, it's not that, because a lot of the times the problems that we're in is because we're not walking in our calling.
In your path.
We're not
true.
going
Yes.
after those things that we really want
Yes.
and are laid in our heart, because God have a way to open up doors when
Yes.
you go for that thing that he gave you that gift for.
Yep.
But no, I like that.
Deep.
But so we go from.
That's it.
Sorry, we got sidetracked. We
Nah, we ain't sidetracked.
We ain't get sidetracked. but
Because
no,
that's
we
where
got-
it got to start at.
We got-
That's where it start at. In here.
Yeah,
if this
that's where
ain't
it
right.
started at. You're right.
With it, like, I don't care how right you think this is. If this ain't right, like, it's a struggle.
Yep.
Bro, like,
You gotta pull them
from
both
personal
together.
experience, like,
Yeah.
if your heart ain't and your head ain't, like, you talking about you trying to go get the bag. Nah. Get your,
The bag
get
trying to
you.
get you.
Nah, you gotta get you. Like, for real. You gotta get you.
Yep.
So you gotta realize those things, like,
Well, that's real.
am I doing all the things that I know I need to do? Because most of the time we know what we need to do to get
And
to
we
where
don't do 'em.
We don't even know. We don't know all the steps, but we know it's something that I'm not doing.
Yeah.
In order to get there.
Intuition. You can feel it. But
So that's it.
So we go from that, and now you got into real estate.
Mm-hmm.
Apart from the conversation you had with the person that you had the conversation with, was he a real estate agent or something?
Yep.
So is he your mentor to this day?
Not to this day.
No.
No.
No. Okay. But aside from that conversation, like, you went in.
Yeah.
Did you quit your job, or did you continue to work your job and do real estate? How did that work? Because a lot of people right now, I know a few cats who work and do real estate school. I don't know how the schooling work, but
Yep.
like you can get your license or whatnot. But
Yeah, I would. So I would recommend
know how
before
that
you
works.
get your license, while you're in school to get it, definitely keep your job, because you
Okay.
can't sell and make a commission until you have your
license.
license. For me, and it's different for everybody. I know kind of my personality. I'm very all or nothing.
okay,
It's full throttle or
Yeah.
nothing. Now, my risk tolerance is a little higher, maybe. And so would I say that was a comfortable time in my life? Absolutely not. It's possibly one of the most stressful and uncomfortable times of my life. Am I thankful for that?
What's your
Yes.
family dynamic
But-
like at this time?
Like extended family, or like
Yo,
like personal, like
personal.
single, married.
girlfriend. Yep. About a year.
Kids, no kids.
No kids. And so, but when I was getting started, was still living at home. So this was 7 years ago.
Okay.
And so that afforded me a little bit more flexibility. If you're going into it and you have bills and you have a family to support, I mean, you definitely, you don't want to compromise that. But what I tell people is 6 months, you want to move into it with either 6 months reserves or be in a position where, you can just do it,
All in.
Yeah, all in.
in.
Yeah. So I went all in and, was knocking on doors. My sisters, she'd support me. Sometimes she'd drop me off in neighborhoods and I'd have my little marketing analysis going, knocking on doors. So those were difficult times. Would I go back and change those? Absolutely not. I mean, the resilience that I learned from that, the personal development that I learned through like trial by fire,
Yeah.
that still
by
use
fire
that
to do
to this
it.
day,
Yeah.
And so like kind of building that courage. I had a lot of anxiety. I struggled talking with people. And so I remember I would go street by street, and in between the streets, I'd have my phone out. And I would listen. I'm not sure if you guys know who Les Brown is.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
I have him on my phone right now.
Yep. So I was trying to find
the older
something.
Les Brown, or the older one, or the younger one.
Oh, well,
because he's a difference. He was young and he was older.
I listened to it all.
You listened to it all.
Yeah, I listened to it all. I was
okay.
sitting there, and because I was trying to find. Because I had like some anxiety. I really struggled talking to people. I had a dream and a burning desire, but like I had a lot of work I had to do. But the thing that I was looking for was courage. You know, I was like, hey, if I could just, keep pushing through. It's brutal. You're knocking on doors, people get off my porch, whatever.
You ain't gonna get nobody to not answer you.
Yeah.
But keep on going.
Sometimes I get up there and knock on the door and I sit there and I'd hope that they wouldn't answer. So it's that type of stuff, and it's really like
be the ones to answer.
That's real though.
You learn so much about yourself. That's it.
Definitely.
And so I would go street by street after street, and I'm down in the dumps. I'm feeling bad, and I listen to Les Brown, talking about how he struggled and how he, I had all of these like dyslexia and all this other stuff, and I was like, okay, if he can do it, I can do it, and we're just gonna keep trying. So I would listen to something, I'd go down the next street, and just to try to keep your morale up.
Yeah.
So
I love that.
You gotta do that.
So
I love that.
that was kind of the journey in the very beginning, and it wasn't glamorous, and but I learned a lot, and I learned a lot about myself, and there's a lot of prayer, and so that was and we made it through.
The beginning
awesome.
journey.
Yeah.
I want to stop you there and be like, say that no one dream that they think they want is gonna be easy. Mm-hmm. Period. They have to go through that.
Yeah.
Whether it's that way or another way, like you have to go through the trenches to get to where you want to be, no matter what you wanted to do.
Nothing worth having is easy.
And nothing worth having is easy. So you have to go through that.
Yeah.
And anybody that tell you different, I say follow them. Because I don't agree, but
Yeah,
I say
it's like,
follow them.
one thing that I tell my kids is like, regardless of what it is that your dream is, right? Whatever that dream is, wherever you're trying to make it to, you might love doing this thing. Like whatever this thing is that you see yourself as big doing, you might love doing that thing. But guess what? It's going to be way more stuff that you don't want to do.
Yep.
If you want to get to that place you saying you're trying to get to.
Right.
So you're going to have to find a way to deal with those things that you don't want to do. The other stuff is easy.
Yeah.
The passion is easy. You know
And
what
I
I
like
mean?
the
Doing
idea
stuff
of-
that you're passionate about. But when you're, what do you call it? When you're an introvert and you don't, and you don't mind being by yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? For me as an introvert, it's like I love being around the people that I consider as family.
Yeah.
Right? But I can chill around the people that I consider as family and just chill. Like I don't got to be talking and doing a lot of conversation.
they know you.
None of that. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
But when you're talking about trying to build a business and make a career out of something, and you got to deal with people, now you got to step out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the difference.
And as you guys know, like the journey is more, it's not about really what you're getting. It really changes. Like going through like that difficult time, it changed my perspective, Something that kind of kept me going and encouraged me was I could see myself getting better. So it was really who I was becoming, every day.
Putting in reps.
Because I was knocking on doors for a while. And I'm not getting a sale or a commission. But what I'm proud of is the fact that I feel a little more confident each day. And so it's like laying a brick. Yeah. And each day I feel a little more confident, a little less anxious. I feel like I can do this a little bit, And so it really, and throughout the 7 years of real estate, the thing that I'm most proud of is, because a lot of people, they don't know where you started. You know what I mean? Only nobody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, because inside, like the fear and the anxiety and sometimes times of depression. And so, like, what the thing that I'm most proud of is really who I've become little by little through adversity and through the struggle, you know, and continuing to push through. And so that's really kind of what the journey's about.
I love that. Yeah. So, and what I got from that is like the one thing you said that stuck out to me was you got to a door and told yourself you hope they didn't answer.
Yeah.
You know how many people are going to get to a door and tell themselves like, why am I doing this? Yeah. I hope this don't work. But you went through it, and that's one thing that I want to get past, because that's going to happen.
Right.
Period. You have to get past that.
It's a battle with fear.
You have to get past that.
Yeah.
You have to get past that, because once you get to that door, and I learned that because I used to knock doors. I knocked doors for Kirby. That's how I learned, like as a young cat.
Yep.
Like, you're going to get told no. You're going to get the door slammed on you. Mm-hmm. Keep it moving.
Right.
But once you get past that, inside of you, what you said, I hope I don't get the door answer, because I can just keep going and say I did my job.
Yeah.
Once you get past that, everything changes.
Yeah. Your relationship with fear.
Everything changes.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you're building a stronger relationship with fear. And, you know, like the majority of the things that I have to do every day, negotiating, dealing with tough clients, prospecting for new business, going on a podcast, I'm nervous to do.
Yes.
You know, like there's fear. What I've learned over the like 7 years, you know, is I've learned to have a stronger and better relationship with fear, because it hasn't gone away.
Yeah.
And I honestly think there's a biblical component, or like a component like with my relationship with God.
Okay.
And it's because if He were to take away the fear, one, my ego would take over, and two, there would be no need for me to ever rely on Him.
Let's go.
You don't ever have to pray if I'm never afraid.
If you're never afraid, so it has to be there.
It has to be there.
It has to be there.
And I never feel any better about
Yes.
it. But there it is. You know, so my relationship with fear has changed. And but every time I'm picking up the phone or negotiating a tough deal or coming on a podcast or, you know, knocking on a door, doing whatever, speaking in front of people, the fear's still there. You know, it's just the courage, and I call it like a courage muscle. And I like being in the gym. I like working out. And if you don't work out consistently, your muscle, I've noticed that the muscles atrophy. And so if you don't do stuff that you're afraid of consistently, your courage muscle starts to atrophy. So what I try to do is, like, you put yourself out of your comfort zone and you try to do it consistently and a little bit more and a little bit more, and your courage muscle strengthens.
It changes. See, what got me past my fear one time, I mean, just say this, is we was on a roller coaster when I was young, right? And I'm my family dynamic is like mostly women.
Yeah.
And we're on this roller coaster, and I'm terrified. I don't want to do this. And she looks at me, and she's like, are you a man or are you a mouse? Matter of fact, you're Terry, what's she goes? You're Terry motherfucking Sylvester. You're a motherfucking Sylvester. No reason you should be scared of nothing.
Right.
And when the woman told me that, she was a woman. When the woman told me that, it was like, you better man up and figure this out. Yeah. But so to this day, I'm still terrified of heights. But when I go walk up on the roller coaster, I tell myself, I'm Terry motherfucking Sylvester.
Yeah.
I can do whatever I want to do. When I go on stage, I'm Terry motherfucking Sylvester. I tell my son, when you go out on the court or in the field, he's not on the basketball. When you go out on the field, tell yourself, you Terry motherfucker. And when you say it with some authority.
Right.
Because you have to tell yourself who you are.
Oh, yeah.
Every time I do something that I'm afraid of, because I ain't gonna lie, I'm afraid of heights. But when I got my girls and they want to go on a roller coaster, or want to go on them slides, the water slides, like that terrified me. I'm not gonna lie, it terrified me. But I'm Terry motherfucking Sylvester,
right?
And I can do it, and I love that, because that's what you got to do. You got to do it.
Are you guys familiar with? Oh, go.
No, go ahead. No,
so are you guys familiar with this guy Ed Milet? Listen to him at all. He's
I haven't.
Comparable to like Les Brown, you know, personal development guy. Okay. Pretty big business, but he's talked about.
Is it to do with the gray beard?
No, kind of like, you know, like, ripped guy, sells insurance but has a big insurance company. But he does like speaking gigs and some personal development, personal faith. But he talked about his journey and your story with you and your wife. It reminded me of a story he told about he had built a business. He was like a millionaire and ended up losing it all. And he said it got so bad that he was newly married to his wife. And it got so bad that they didn't have running water. So they'd have to go down to like the equivalent of like a YMCA. And there was like these outdoor showers, and he would have to stand there and hold up a towel so that his new wife could just shower. Like, I mean, I can't even imagine that, right? As a man too, like sitting there like, this is unbelievable. And he was saying that, during that time he was depressed. And his wife, they asked him like what was like a motivator that got him out of that, and he literally said his wife got frank with him. And she's like, I don't recognize this man in front of me. Like, this is not who you are. This is not what you're about.
Stop the podcast right now.
She reminded him of who he was
every day.
And so that really, he was like, okay, and he's built now, and he's a phenomenal place. But that was the part that was like,
look. Boom. We done 20 minutes in. Yeah. We done. Like everything that was just said, because if y'all got to pay attention. It's two different dynamics here. So because somebody like Terry Sylvester, right? Like we've been friends for a long time. I know it's no problem for him to walk in the room and talk to every single person in this room and capture the attention of everybody, right? So I relate more to your story where it was like, it was the things that I did, putting myself in uncomfortable positions with whatever it was. Yeah. I would say, let's be frank. All right, come on. Like, we got the listeners. All right. So I did a lot of stuff in the streets when I was younger. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it was those things, putting myself in positions where I had to do this thing that I put myself in a position to do, where I kind of got confidence because I kind of seen I was able to do some of the things. But then, too, on the flip side, when I ended up finding God, bro, like, I spent like 5 years going door to door witnessing every single Saturday. You know what I'm saying? So between the streets giving me my confidence to stand up tall, like, because I was the type of personality I would let stuff slide, right? Because I'm non-confrontational naturally. You know what I mean? But it worked to kind of both ways because I'm non-confrontational. I don't know how to handle a talking situation when I'm young. So I'm getting into situations because I can't talk myself out of the situation or make it make sense because I'm not good at that conversational piece.
Can't comprehend it.
You know what I'm saying? So it got me into situations as well as like another hand. But purposefully putting myself in uncomfortable situations is what got me to the point now where today, like, people don't be, and they see me walk, I stay networking, bro. You know what I'm saying? I stay networking. So the people, especially the people like who I went to Spring GR and all of those classes with, they be like, man, bro, like, you so natural with it. Like, nah, bro, I'm never comfortable. Yes. I'm never comfortable. When I'm in these situations, I'm doing this because I know it's what I need to do, and I'm really trying to become more natural at it, right? So it don't seem like I'm forcing it. Because when you are uncomfortable in those type of situations where you're trying to build relationships, you could feel like you trying to force it, or you would think too much about what you're gonna say ahead of time. Now you feel like you scripting everything. So it's just like my thing was, all right, I have to become to the point where it seems natural, feels natural, and it is natural. But what I had to do was learn how to work through the fear. So I had to build that relationship with fear. Like, that's what you said was so profound. Like, the relationship that you build with fear. It's not about whether fear is there or not. It's about if you're going to keep tucking your tail and running. Every time you fear it, every time you feel it. You know what I'm saying? Is you going to tuck your tail, or are you going to purposefully, because naturally, we don't want to feel uncomfortable. Nobody wants to feel uncomfortable in no situation. So in your natural state, you're not going to put yourself in those uncomfortable situations. But that's where the growth happens.
That's where growth happens.
That's where all the growth happens.
And you won't win every battle when you come up against fear.
But you do because you learn.
You learn, and so there was many times like going back to knocking on
L
doors.
is a W sometimes too.
Yeah, if you don't give up, and that's overplayed.
If you learn from it,
yeah, and
if you learn from it, yep.
There's a time like knocking on doors, and like you get discouraged, right? And you're like, okay, this is cruel and unusual punishment, right? I don't want to go through this again and again. So there were times where I would start and then I would end up walking home or like, hey, come get me. Like and so there were times where you don't win the battle that day. But it's interesting because there was a time I was walking in the house and my sister was there. And, she's concerned, like a good sister. And so she asked me, she's like, Kyle, what's the plan? As I'm like walking like upstairs. And I was frustrated and I felt embarrassed. And I'm like, asking myself, am I a man? Like I can't get in with nothing. So I was kind of mad, and I literally, I'm not proud of the fact I kind of snapped a little bit. And I said, I don't know what the plan is, but I'll be back out there tomorrow. And I just stormed upstairs. And the thing is like I knew I wasn't gonna give up, but I didn't have a plan.
That's all you need.
I didn't have a plan. I'm frustrated. I'm embarrassed. I came back without anything. I don't have a plan. I'm just gonna hammer at this thing, and I'll be back out tomorrow.
Yeah.
And that's it. And so sometimes people need to let themselves off the hook that you're not gonna win every battle with fear. But if you keep showing back up, eventually you'll have a chance to win.
Yeah.
And so
show up and know that you're going to keep showing up.
Yeah.
The plan today was to go deep into investment, real estate, and we'll get there. But like sometimes the plans change, but you got to keep showing up.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
A lot of people like
it's that internal thing, bro.
Yeah.
Like, and it's a struggle constantly because you going through trying to get your money so you can open your franchise. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
bro, like
tough.
I'm basically restructuring, reorganizing, rebranding my brand right now for my videography stuff. You know what I mean? And it's like it's been a slow year, but I know too it's things that I could have done better, more of. So sometimes the frustration happens when you frustrated with yourself.
Yes.
Yeah, you gotta.
And you frustrated, and like I could have did more, I could do better, but sometimes you need people around you to hold you accountable.
I was about to say you gotta have a circle.
Sometimes you need people around you to hold you accountable.
Like you say, as men, we have this thing over us. And it ain't just men, because I know women who do this thing by themselves. And
yeah, but we ain't got no women on the show, though, so we can't speak towards how exactly, you know what I mean? Don't take it as an offense.
Though, like you say, we have this thing over us where if we can't provide, it doesn't work. And like you say, bro, I got a lot going on. I ain't gonna lie. Like, I got a lot going on. And I just had a baby.
Yeah.
I just had a baby. And since we parent, like, coherent with what we got going on, like, I just had a baby. And last week, I got, for some random reason, a water bill cut off. How did my water cut off? Matter of fact, how don't I have the money to pay for my water? Now I got to ask my mom. I'm a grown ass man who does what he does. I have a successful business. How don't I have $300 to pay for my water bill?
Right now.
Right now.
Yeah.
And I got 3 businesses. That don't even make sense.
Right.
But this, shit, we getting in.
As my wife tells me, we keep it moving. But my circle, she had to tell me that. She had to, we got this. She had to really let me know that we got this. We got this. It ain't that big
y'all
of a deal.
both. Y'all said some.
It ain't that big of a deal.
Yeah.
But realistically, as men, my whole world just dropped.
Right.
Because if you ain't had titty milk, how am I gonna feed this baby?
Right. True. You know.
But we got this. And we got this. Like you say, bro, this is transparent. This is what we do. Surviving startup is what we do, and we're surviving this shit.
Still going, though. Because these is the problems people deal with in
everyday life. So no matter what you see, like you say, people see what they want to see.
Right.
You can see me and you can be like,
same struggles, different levels.
same struggles,
Very
different
true.
levels.
Same struggles, different levels.
I love
Because people look, when you making moves, it don't matter if you flat broke. beyond broke
Right.
or getting money.
Oh, man,
The
I
people
love
around you is gonna look at you like you getting money.
it. As long as you keep going.
Because you look like you getting money. And you doing podcasts, you got businesses, you this, you that. But now they look at, damn, this nigga Terry water cut off.
Exactly.
Yep.
You know what I
like
mean?
that. But Terry,
But
we
you got
ain't
businesses, and that's the thing. Sometimes these valleys are part of the system. So I will ask you this,
They are.
because like you said, like sometimes it is losses, right?
Yep.
Like days you just leave and go home, right? And then you get there and you know one thing you know is you're not going to give up, right?
not gonna
But
quit.
what do you take from that lesson from those days where it's like, you know what, I'm leaving. What do you take from that
Yeah. So
to make you better the next day?
I would take, a lot of times it's difficult when you're in it to see the lesson, just because
Yeah,
there's so many
definitely.
emotions that are trapped in that moment. It's after,
100%.
and so that's why this whole idea of just like continuing to like not give up, it's overused, but it's just like sometimes not giving up is just showing up.
Just enough.
It's not even showing up enthusiastically. It's like, I'm just here. There are times in college where, I'm in a physics class or like I'm, in, some biochem class, whatever, and I'm exhausted and I feel hammered. And it's like, I'm here. That's what I could give today. I'm here. And so it's the same thing in like anything in life. So what do you take from that? I would say, like persistence is everything. A lot of times, like one of the biggest prayers that I pray is very basic. It's just asking the Lord for courage. Like we pretend that I gotta be a man, like I gotta on my courage. There are many times, and it's always when I have to speak in front of people. Coming from somebody who had pretty high anxiety. I'm before that feeling. I'm not sure if you ever gotten up to speak in front of a crowd, but it's always right before you got to stand up. You know what I mean?
Imagine putting yourself in a situation where you got a gun and you about to stick somebody up.
Yeah. So I mean that's the difference. For me,
It's kind of like that. Like it's like that right before it goes down type of.
It's one of those things. So this is kind of case.
I might be going a little bit too hard.
Yeah,
I might be going a little bit
let's
too hard.
bring it to a
So God
biblical
changed my
example.
life. Hold on, wait. God changed my life.
yeah.
Listen, I used to do a lot of stuff in the street. God found me. I changed my life completely.
Let's go.
Completely up. So I say these things with a proud enamory for God and what He
absolutely.
did for my life. So if you hear me talking about stuff I did in the street, I don't say that gloating about like none of that stuff was good. But God, it was God though.
Yeah. It's really interesting because
I was gonna look.
it's comparable. Come on, like you were kind of going like in that vein.
You had the same adrenaline.
Yeah.
You got the idea.
Same thing.
Yeah.
But like even in that vein, so like it reminds me of when I can't remember all the details, but it was when like the person had to get out of the boat when he just called him to step out of the
Yep.
boat.
To
Step out of the
Yep.
boat.
So the thing was, it's like, he wasn't keeping himself up.
Nope. He didn't
But-
know what was going to keep him up.
Yeah, but the thing is, he had to have the courage and the faith to just step out. So it's really interesting because I was talking to someone about this. When you got to stand up and speak in front of people, and you're sitting in the seat, and then the person maybe calls you or introduces you, and you got to stand up. The simple prayer that I've always like prayed is for the Lord to just give me His courage. Because the difference is like I know that with my courage it's just not enough.
can't do
It's
it.
just not like I've never had that, so I ask Him for His courage, and it's really interesting because I always start and I'm afraid and there's anxiety. And you kind of hear my voice shake a little bit, and then it's like. I think he kind of takes over.
Something click.
But he lets me
click.
start. It's like almost stepping out of the boat
Let you fumble.
where you step out of the boat and you kind of start sinking, but then like he'll hold you up.
carry, yeah.
And so it's really interesting because the majority of the times I've ever spoken in front of people, I don't remember much of it. I practice.
I know exactly what
But I
you
don't always
mean.
remember much of it. And it's interesting because I soundly believe that I start, like I'll have the courage, I'll have the faith to just stand out of my chair, walk up there, and then start my presentation. And then the prayer that I prayed, give me your courage, He comes in after that. Because He's like, you're obedient in faith. then I'm gonna come in. And so it's really interesting, but like that's kind of
it's some dope parallels.
Yeah,
so I ain't gonna use another street parallel.
I love that.
But so I am a hobbyist. So I do rap, and I used to do performances a lot of the times. And one of my things was, because mainly before I got saved, it was a different thing. But then, mainly Christian rap, right? So one thing that I do before my performances, when I pray, I just pray that I give everything to Him when I go out here, and I glorify Him. So it's similar, because afterwards, I don't really remember much of nothing that happened when I was on that stage. And when people see me afterwards, they be like, bro, because anytime like I do something like that, a show or something, my energy is like, when I get on that stage, because I'm giving it to God. I'm not thinking about what I'm doing. I'm giving it to God. You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of what that thought process. So what we're really talking about is that thought process to help yourself.
No, what we're really talking about is giving it to God. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, really.
Because realistically, it don't work without Him. That's what y'all coming down to the conclusion.
Yeah,
it doesn't.
Real talk.
I ain't
real talk.
My 2 cents.
You know what I'm saying? It's real talk. Like, and that's what gave me. You right, because it was giving it to God, which. Where you looked at it differently was like the courage was kicking in. Where I was looking at it was like, but you was getting it from God. Where I'm looking at it was just like,
you're giving it.
I'm doing this to God.
Right.
So I have to, bro. Let's talk. Like, some people really, it's different religions, it's different things out here, right?
Yeah.
If it make you better and that's what you believe, do what you do. I don't believe in judging nobody, because I got all my own stuff I'm going through. I don't judge nobody. But I've never been a Muslim. I never dealt with a different faith. So I can just speak to the people who've been in the faith that I've been a part of.
Right.
And I would say we be so in tune then with God inside the church, but then when we look at what we trying to do on the other things on the sideline, your job, your career, your business, are you giving that to God? Are you doing it like you're doing it for God, to God?
Right.
Because now when you looking at that, now I feel like I need to go home and get some stuff together for real, because that been off of like a sidetrack.
Right.
For me, because I'm trying to focus on where I need to get the business financially, getting sales. But boom, are you giving it to God? Because guess what? I'm only doing this video stuff and making money off of this stuff because God showed me my talent.
Right.
And then I was over the video stuff for the church for like 6 years.
Right.
So that's where I had to learn. That's where I had to learn. Right. And I had to show up, because the pastor that I had you couldn't come with nothing less.
Right.
And media got talked about more than any other ministry.
Right.
So I'm learning, and it's God that gave me the grind, that gave me the realization of my gift and my talent. But if I speak frankly, no, I have not been giving it to God, my talents in my business. Because if I say I have, then I will be doing way more. Realistically, let's be real. Be real with yourself.
But no, that's what it is.
But let's not get off track, because we do got the number one investment real estate guy in the building. But no, it's real. Like, and that's what I loved about the conversation we had, because it was just a real conversation about real things. And if we don't fix these real things, then none of the money that we want and how we want to invest in whatever is not gonna make a difference, bro. If you're not right internally, you can't be, I ain't gonna say you can't be productive, because some people are dysfunctionally productive because that's where they find their peace in all of the world and the chaos. Just diving deeper into.
I would argue you wouldn't find that in money.
No,
money's
definitely
very important.
not.
We're in a very competitive and expensive society, but
Capitalism.
The thing is, you definitely, I don't think you're going to find peace there, and you're definitely not going to find fulfillment there. And I can say that from my journey, like, we kind of started from humble beginnings. So when you start making a decent amount of money, you think like, one, you're like, oh, I'm the man, and you've worked hard and you've earned it, but
we weren't
also
taught what to do with it.
Yeah, dude, that's one thing too. And another thing is, it does not fix the internal.
Inside.
It doesn't. Now, that's not to say it's not important. It's vitally important. Taking care of your family, providing, that's part of who we are.
That's part of life.
But if you're trying to fix something, it's not, the
so
Lord
hard.
And feeling proud of yourself and the personal development that helps fix it. And it helps you to grow. And so that statement I said earlier, it's not necessarily about what you're getting, but it's who you need to become in the process in order to get it.
Yep.
And you can be proud of that.
Yep.
And so that's something that I found.
Yep.
Yeah.
I love that. We're going to leave that there. Say that one more time.
It's not what you're getting, but it's who you need to become in the process in order to get it.
In order to get what you want.
Oh my goodness, and that tie into something that I was watching, because I watched the Secret to Success podcast with Eric Thomas, E.T., and all of them. And the last one I was watching, they was saying, it's not verbatim, but basically what they were saying was, what you want as far as your lifestyle and how you perceive yourself, it's on the other side of making those internal changes of yourself.
Absolutely.
Making those changes that you need to make to be a different person that's going to get there. Because wherever you are right now, you're there because that's what you've been doing.
Right.
Whether you're blessed or whether you feel like you're in a bad situation, you're there because of what you've been doing.
Right.
So if you on the level where you getting money, $200,000 a year, all right, good. But now if you want to go to $5 million, now you have to become a different person.
Absolutely.
So that money is on the other side of you becoming that other person that you need to become.
Yes.
We put too much faculty in what we have, what we wearing, and all of that, but we don't put enough faculty into about becoming who we are and becoming. We have to become
That was TD.
millionaire before we have money.
That was
You want to be a millionaire, you have to become a millionaire before you have money.
Be a millionaire long before the money shows up.
That was TD Jake's sermon yesterday.
Absolutely.
Man.
I believe that. So
That was
wholeheartedly.
TD Jake's sermon yesterday.
Oh yeah, I only watched
and
TD
it was his sermon was more so people always complaining
Confirmation,
about
though.
people always complaining about fighting the devil when the devil was probably yourself. That was pretty much it. Talking about what demons you fighting, and realistically you didn't get up for work today.
Oh wow.
Exactly.
Realistically, you
poured
wanted that.
in.
You wanted those coach purses that you can't afford.
Wow.
I was like, that's tough.
Yeah.
That's tough.
That is.
Because that's what a lot of people are scared to hear.
Yeah.
And we put ourselves in those positions.
Fighting your own demons and the demons. And people say that all the time. I'm fighting demons today. What demons you fighting? Because your alarm clock went off?
You're right.
I wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
I ain't fighting nobody.
Yeah.
Come on.
Don't even have to fight traffic.
I ain't fighting nobody. I feel good.
Nobody.
Why
Time to
is
get
you
up.
here? What the fuck is you fighting? Because you didn't wake up.
Right.
No, that's real.
But it's the perspective. That's why people say, because it's the perspective. And a lot of times, man, like, and I've definitely been a part of this, but a lot of times, as human beings, we like to look for the excuses. We like to look for the person we could blame, the thing we could blame for not doing, for not being, for not becoming. Because then I don't have to be so hard and down on myself.
You don't have to put it on yourself.
Yeah.
He gonna have to come back on and talk about investment real estate.
Right. Yeah.
That's not what this episode is about, obviously.
No, I like it. I like that. You know, because just everything about it was real, and that's what
real
a lot of
talk.
people need to listen. Just listen.
No, for real. And then
I ain't gonna say listen. I tell people don't listen.
No.
Just hear. Hear what I'm saying. Hear what the next person's saying. Cause I don't know. Don't listen to nobody. You hear what the next person's saying, then put your 2 cents in.
Yeah.
What this shows right now, just this conversation, right? Because this was like the pre-conversation and turned into the whole episode. But realizing, okay, you was watching TD Jakes. You was thinking about this and going through this. I was looking at this and it all match up.
All ties in.
When you sit with people who are trying to be more, do more, start to adjust your circle, and then you have those conversations, then you start to notice sense. Like, oh, okay, so sometimes God will give you confirmation in the next person, like, oh man, I was just thinking about that confirmation. Change up the way you moving.
The way you move.
Yep.
That's confirmation. So if
the
I
next
go
person would have
home,
been like, why you talking about that? And
Bro.
what if it was on the Bad Girls Club?
Listen,
We don't care about the Bad Girls Club.
if we go home, if we take this, cause it's nothing out of this conversation that I don't think any of us could have got from each other as men, right? So now if we go home and we make no adjustments, then it was no point for us to have this conversation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But now if we can take that mindset to use these type of conversations to make adjustments. When you watching TD Jakes, Eric Thomas, this, that,
Yes.
Les Brown,
Yes.
and he's saying this is not the problem. This is the problem. You think the money the problem, but your thinking is the problem.
Yes.
And you still not putting 100% of your thinking on fixing your thinking. You're the problem.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because you're getting information that's going to take you to the next level and you're not using it.
Yes.
And I've been so guilty of it. And that's why I'm telling, because I know it's some people, I don't know where or when, what year that you listening to this. But it's some people that's hearing information and they're not using that information to better themselves. It's like you hear about certain things that they doing with the food, and then you be like, well, it's just like that.
It's been like that. It's like a smoker. I've been smoking my whole life. I'm gonna die someday.
Yeah.
All right, you're right, bro. I don't talk to people like that.
It's-
You're right.
Everything that we want is on the other side of the adjustment.
Yes.
So how are we going to adjust?
Start
so
today.
let's get on that though. Before we get out of here.
How we gonna start that?
How do you adjust, right?
As in what?
If you see like, okay, let's say, and I'll go from this situation. So you was out there getting dropped off in neighborhoods.
Yep.
And this one day you said, you know what? I'm just not feeling it. It's not it. I'm going home. How do you make that adjustment from there? Because that's almost like you said, that's almost like you taking an L unless you look at yourself and learn something and take something from it and say, okay, I know I ain't gonna give up. But then you got to go out tomorrow with a different mindset.
That's the key.
Because you can't go out tomorrow with that same energy or else you're gonna come right back home again.
Right.
So how do you adjust in that?
So the thing is, there isn't an immediate adjustment with anything. Everything in life, from the people we hang out with, to the things that we watch, to the things that we read, to the music that we listen to, you're slowly getting conditioned, right? So, and it's in a good way or a bad way, right? People you hang out with, if everyone's saying, oh, you can't do that, eventually, drop by drop by drop, eventually you're going to start to think, oh, I can't do that. And so the key, I mean, and it's not an overnight key. It's drop by drop by drop in the other direction of putting the positive drops in the bucket. And for me, that was listening to Les Brown talk about there is hope. I mean, I can't tell you, and I want to say it's definitely over 50 times, probably closer to 100, of listening to his one on YouTube talking about you can live your dream, and just listening to that over and over, and drop by drop by drop, I started to think differently. And so it's being intentional about reconditioning your mind. But the thing is, people are like, well, where's the adjustment like this? It's not. Same thing with working out. You're gonna work out a ridiculous amount every day before you ever see anything.
Yep.
But eventually, drop by drop by drop, you're gonna start to change. And so it's being intentional about turning on those tapes, listening to those different things, and over time you'll start to see things differently. Ed Milet, I keep referring to him, he talks about your reticular activator system. And basically it's like when you buy a new car, let's say you bought a blue Tesla, all of a sudden you're driving down the road and now you see every Tesla on the road. It's because you've conditioned, now your reticular activator system has brought into its consciousness what matters to it now. So if you can figure out, okay, I want to listen to this instead of listening to whatever, right? I'm going to hang around like-minded people instead of hanging around people who aren't doing anything. Now you can start to condition your reticular activator system to all of a sudden, now I'm starting to see opportunity. Now I'm starting to see hope.
Yep.
And a lot of times for me, especially coming from some meager beginnings, all I needed was hope. I've got to see someone who started, and that's why Les Brown is so powerful for me, because he started, and he was he was abandoned, and taken in, and he had a learning disability, he had all these different things, and the only thing I was looking for was if he can start way back there, and I'm a little farther, I can do it too, right? Because he's here now. And so I just needed hope. And a lot of times that's the whole thing. So if you can just continue to tap into dropping little drops of hope
every day,
every single day, eventually over 3 years, 365 drops a year of hope. Over 3 years, you're going to start believing and you're going to start having hope. And so that's the thing. There's no quick thing. There's no quick mental adjustment. And the thing now, even after 7 years of this, I know that when I fall off of continuously and deliberately putting drops of hope, positive things in my bucket, I start to regress. So you naturally regress, especially if you didn't have that initially.
You had that conversation.
So that's the key. There isn't really a key. It's
and can I add something to that?
Yeah.
And with that hope is
big.
It's okay to make change. It's okay to adjust yourself. Like, I'm a shooter. So when I'm shooting down range and I notice my bullet's not going where it's going, it's okay to make an adjustment. What's the definition of doing something over and over and not getting a return? It's called Insanity.
Doing the same thing.
Doing the same thing over and over. If you don't
expecting a different result.
If you don't make a little change, that might not happen. So it's okay to make change.
Right.
Most people are scared to make change with that hope. Yeah. We got hope, but it's okay to make that change.
It's uncomfortable.
And
it's uncomfortable. Make a little change.
I'll add this just for clarity for the people that's listening. We talking about a little bit of hope every day. We talking about, bro, start your day with prayer. Look at the things that you want in your life, who you want to be, who you see yourself as, who you would like to see yourself as, not who you see yourself, not how you're looking at yourself right now, but how you would like to see yourself as in the future, and pray that God show you how to get there. And then do affirmations, and do that 3 times a day. Matter of fact, let's do a challenge. Let's do a challenge. Figure out, write down on a piece of paper who you see yourself, who you would like to see yourself as. If you don't see yourself as nothing, if you see yourself as something who you're not yet, then okay, that's it. If you see yourself as nothing, write down who you would like to see yourself as. 3 times a day, morning, midday, whatever is good for you. say your prayer, look in the mirror, say your affirmations to tell yourself you are those things, and see how that change you. And that's what it is every day. A little drop of hope. Every day, because and you right about that. You regress because transparency, that has always been my downfall. When I stop doing the things that I know make me more confident, then I start to lose my confidence.
Yep.
I stop doing everything that I was doing. Then slowly everything starts to regress until I get back on. Every day I'm saying my prayers. Yeah. Every day I'm in my affirmations. Every day I'm doing the things that I put down on my schedule. Even if I don't get everything done, if I'm at least trying to get everything done, even if I don't touch everything, I still feel good at the end of the day. Right. But if I'm not even coming and doing my schedule, and I know I need to do my schedule because I know one of my biggest things is like structure and order. Like, what do you... Structure and order. Let's call it structure and order.
Organization.
Organization. It's like, that's not my strong suit. So I know in order for me to get to the next level, one of my adjustments has to be organizing. I have to learn how to organize my life better. Yeah. My whole life. And that's not easier said than done when you like, okay, you listening to this, to that, you talking and you learning stuff, and you go to your spouse like, all right, we about to do this. But they don't even know where this coming from for real. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you have this drive, but then the person over here, they ain't been listening to what you've been listening to. Yeah, no. They ain't been doing what you've been doing. Mm-hmm. So they just like, okay, I'm with you, but you know what I mean? So I think it has to be a clarity, and that's why I say a organization to it, because one of the things that I do now that I didn't used to do, I'm trying to do more of it. My wife will see this episode next week. I'm trying to do more of it. When I get new information and I'm like, okay, we about to implement some new stuff, whether it's about health, fitness, or whatever. Watch this video with me.
Right. Let her do it. Yeah.
Watch this video with me, so you understand where I'm coming from. Because I can't explain to you the way that this was. We need to be on some investment real estate right now. Babe, I want some land. But look, if we get the investment real estate, then the land will... Nah, she don't like... And I think that's where, too, a lot of times, especially if you got a significant other, like, you have to do things so y'all be on the same page. You can't just expect to say something and then y'all be on the same page, because you can't explain the motivation like Les Brown can explain motivation or have you motivated. You can say the exact same thing Les Brown said, but your wife's gonna be looking at you like, why you laughing like that? Because you know Les Brown, he like that. Les Brown be talking, then he start laughing
at himself. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, but it showed a good energy of it. But yeah, though, I hope I just gave some good information there. Like,
no,
I kind of gave a lot with that, but yeah, though, no, like for real. I mean, that was the podcast today. Like,
I love
work
it.
on you.
Yeah. That's
like
how you start.
Working on you.
You start somewhere, and it ain't. And like you say, it ain't easy. And a lot of people gotta knock doors. Whether your knocking doors look different.
What was the number one thing you think that kept you going?
Hope. He just said it.
Yeah, it was hope.
Hope.
Yeah.
Hope in what though exactly?
Seeing. Well. The Lord, because he helps you, get out of the valley, right, and then gives the courage. But modeling, so seeing someone else, they were able to do it, so I feel that I can do it. And that's even something that I
So looking at an example of where you want it to be, kind of.
Yep. Yeah, and that was the thing. Like even in college and the jobs that I had before, that was the uneasy thing. I could never visualize and draw a map from where I'm at to where my dreams are at. So I can never connect them. And so, like, I
never looked at it like that because I still can't connect it.
We talking about the
uneasy.
basics.
It makes you uneasy because you can't, like you know, I know that I have a burning desire for this.
Yeah.
But I can't figure out the
How to
path
get
to get there
That's
in any of these
big.
different conventional veins.
That's big.
So now I have to. So then I'm at this love, like, well, what do you want to do? And it's like I'm wrestling with myself. So when I finally saw that, and it was outside of the conventional realm, when I finally saw that, I didn't need. For me, I didn't need the resources. I didn't need anything. I needed hope first. I needed to see, okay, this is the first black president. We could be president.
You can do
I don't
that.
know if that's your dream, but you could be because
do
I can
that.
see him and I see where he started.
Yeah.
Right? And so as long as you can see it, and that's one thing I actually admire about this podcast is because what you're doing every day is giving hope. People see you doing it. And so that's huge, you know? And so, and whoever you have on here, you're promoting them. And so they're able to see a journey. And so it's, you know, somebody's podcast that they're looking at where they're like, what they're really looking for is hope. You know, can I, you know, get out of here? Can I do it? And even depending on where you grow up, you're watching the MTV music videos or whatever. What that's giving you, good or bad, is hope. So then you're trying to figure out a path. And many kids, they're sitting there, and the only thing that's playing in their home is either football,
rap.
Some sort of sports, rap, selling drugs. That's all they see. And they, inside of them, especially when they're young, they have a burning desire of, I want that. I want hope. I'm looking at where I'm at now, and I don't like it. And I want, you know, the house. I want, you know, the beautiful woman. I want, you know, the car. I want the status, right? I want to feel confident. And that's the way they see it.
Yep.
And that's all they see. So they're like, okay, I got to start playing basketball. I got to start playing football. I got to go get an album. Yeah. I got to, you know, get on the corner. Because that's all I see. And so if you can give hope in a different direction, you're selling drugs, you're doing whatever, you have an amazing ability to communicate with people. Well, why don't you take that same vibe and the same energy to communicate to people and then put it into selling cars, selling homes, selling phones, selling whatever. Yeah. Pay your taxes, you never got to look over your shoulder. But you're just giving them hope in a different direction.
In a different way.
And so that's something amazing that you guys do.
Oh my God, okay. Yeah. So before we wrap it up, I'm going to say this because that was like, I don't know. It's something there. I got chills with that part of the conversation.
Because that's real. Yeah. And that's what a lot of people don't want to talk about.
People want to get somewhere, first of all. But how do I get there? That's a big barrier. Yep. Because I think it's a lot of people that's from where we from that's like, I want to get to a certain place, but how do I get there, right? Shameless plug. So, last week, we had a Young Entrepreneurs Economic Expo. We did that to promote entrepreneurship in young people, to help build a community of entrepreneurs and young people, and really to help them to try to instill just a sense of seeing something being sold into the community so they can just naturally have that sense as growing as an entrepreneur to sow into the community. And I say that to say this because a lot of times we look at where we from and be like, oh man, it's a dark city. I'm talking whoever, if you feel like I'm talking to you, I'm talking to you. A lot of time we look at the city and, let me look at the camera. A lot of time we look at the city and people be like, man, Grand Rapids is getting messed up. Grand Rapids is this. Grand Rapids is that. It's a dark cloud over Grand Rapids. All of these people shooting people. All of these people doing this. All of these people doing that. Meanwhile, you done came from the streets, changed your whole swag of life up, living productive, and sitting back and talking about all the things that's wrong in the city that you grew up in. I'm not judging you. I was the same way. I did the same thing. I started to change my life. started to live in different neighborhoods, different type of houses, better houses. And I say this like, oh, like I'm some type of big activist. No, but what happened was we had a fire, and when we had to move back to the hood, I'm like, yo, these the same streets where I sold drugs. These the same streets where I was robbing people.
Humble,
bro. Like
yourself.
I was humble very quickly, but what more than it was like, yo, I'm trying to do all of this stuff. And then I heard something from David Banner say about like, we hate ourselves because I don't even want to live around y'all. I want to get my money up and move.
Yep.
When I walk past another person that look like me, I'm worrying about them more than probably the white person that's moving in the neighborhood. So we be hating ourselves. And I'm looking like, yo, we can't keep talking about our neighborhoods and our cities and have a whole change of life, but we not proactively trying to change something. So with that Young Entrepreneurs Economic Expo, we're going to continue the vibe. We're going to continue it going. And we trying to give young people skills with entrepreneurship, building a community with entrepreneurship. And in that way, we are trying to change the dynamic of the neighborhood. Like,
of the way we think, of the way we move, of the way we live.
If you feel like our city is messed up and you got a whole change of life, we need you. Bro, shout out to Will Braylock.
Let's do something.
Something happened with the young lady at East Kenwood High School.
Yeah.
Right? We ain't gonna go all into
I don't know
that.
too much about
but
it.
you know, cause I don't know all the details, but some man from our city went up there just to see like what's going on, how's it being handled.
We need that
Like we need us to come together like that.
all the time.
Right? And not like when it's a white person and a black person or the police and a black person. When it's especially black people against black people, we need to keep that same energy of let's go, let's figure out what's going on, let's try to do what we can do to make the situation better. Let's sow back into our communities how we can sow back into our communities, because if we just leaving, what's going to become of the community? There's going to be a lot of people just stuck.
Right.
In positions where you can give them information, I could give them information, but now we over here living a good life. Like I'm not anti anybody, but I am from a certain demographic, and I do want to see my people living better, eating better, doing better, and that's it.
Yep.
So start today.
Not tomorrow. Let's go.
And anything closing out? Oh, let's tell the people where we can find you again, because they might didn't see that first episode with Kyle Kimble. So we gonna tell the people where they can find you, and then we'll close out.
Yep. Kyle Kimble on Facebook, Instagram, Kimble Estates. And yeah, those are the two main spots. And I want to say that I really appreciate the opportunity. I love the conversations that we have, the ability to get real. And from, a kid when I was starting out looking for examples and looking for hope, things like this have a special place in my heart because, there is someone who's just like me when I was starting out, who's, going door to door, and they're looking for a model, and they're looking for hope. And that's something you guys provide, so that means a lot to me, and I appreciate you having me on.
We appreciate you, man.
We appreciate you, brother.
The first recurring guest, and hey,
and sorry we didn't get into
when we up to the
financial
millions,
real estate.
We'll get into that.
That's really what we came in
he
for.
the first recurring guest. He gonna be back.
Financial real estate.
He'll be back. Then we'll talk about investment real estate and whatever else may come up in that conversation. Till then,
we shall see you guys.
And we out.
Oh man.